Gazmas here with another Grand Archive video. Now that Alta has been out for a while, I thought it would be nice to revisit the tier list and to see if the early decks I thought were on top are still there, and see if we've got any surprises. I thought also with this tier list, I'll change it up this time. Instead of having the S tier, A tier, I'll have a look at it just from a tournament perspective, and this is also going to be a best of 3. So our tiers are decks that I think can win the whole thing, regardless of whether you have to pilot them well or not, if they're linear. So yeah, decks that can win the whole thing. The tier under that are decks that I think that if things go your way, you can make the final. Probably not strong enough to win the whole thing, but definitely on its day can make the final. The third tier are top cut, so decks that will get you to top cut. Top 8 is probably their ceiling. Below that is top cut if they get lucky. So these are decks that probably, if you get lucky and you avoid your bad matchups and you get some good draws, you could probably make top cut, but things need to go your way. And the final is you're kind of playing these decks for fun, and you're most likely dropping after round 3. As always, for the lineage break champions, I'm just going to talk about them covering all 3 elements kind of in one, and just using the element that I believe is its best to rank it. And then for the champions, we have 3 levels of, so your Rise, your Lorraine, Sylvies, and Xanders. I'm going to do water, wind, and fire. Alright, we'll start off with water Rye. Unfortunately, this is the weakest of the Rye builds. It's very hard to get a kill. The win cons, between Advent of Stormcaller, Erratic Bolts, and Arcane Blast, they're just all done better in wind and fire. If you bring this to a tournament, I think at the moment with the current build, you're probably going to be dropping after round 3. Next, we have Water Lorraine. Now, this was at the top of my last tier, but how the meta shifted and how people have adapted to that deck, I no longer think this deck can win the whole thing. I still rate Water quite highly, so I do think it has potential to make a final. That's probably going to be its ceiling, and that also kind of things need to go its way. I can't see Water Lorraine winning a big tournament soon. Water Sylvie, top cut if they get lucky. The reason being, it does have with the water card that allows you to attack with your toughness instead of attack, it does have big turn potentials, and I think Water Sylvie on its day could make top cut. I wouldn't say you're going to make top cut consistently for this, but if things do go your way. Mordred, I actually think you can make top cut with Mordred. The build in specific is a fire build. It can push all the damage Fire Lorraine can do, but when you're not running the Crux cards, it just allows you to be more consistent with big attacks. And then if people aren't prepared for it, you can Rending Flames for 12 on multiple turns, time after time. So definitely think you can top cut with Fire Mordred. Not specifically the Wind or Water, but definitely with Fire. Next we need Rack Champion Alan. I also think this, the Wind and also the Fire variants can also make top cut. The Wind Alan lists that are running around are quite aggressive, and I do think their ceiling is top cut. I don't think you're going to win a tournament or make a final with Alan, but I think top cut is something that is easily achievable with Alan. Fire Lorraine, you can win the whole thing. The most recent tournaments, especially the biggest one we've had recently, Fire Lorraine's won that. It uses the Ascension package. You've got the Ensoul package also with Fire Lorraine. You can win tournaments. The deck is relatively linear in what you're trying to do, but it's one of the strongest decks in the current format, and at the top at the moment, especially with the recent results. Now, Fire Rye, I'll put it above Water Lorraine. you can make finals with it. It's very hard at winning the whole thing. Just at the moment, the two top decks, so we've got one there, and then the other one I'll put up shortly. They just outperform the Arcane Fire Rye. A bit of consistency. It's got a little bit of run, but I think at the moment Rye is just a little bit inconsistent to win tournaments consistently. Fire Sylvie, again, if people aren't prepared for it, you can be very aggressive. You might be able to top cut with a Fire Sylvie. I just don't think you're going to consistently get top cuts. It's going to be a bit more of a things need to go your way, and people are not prepared for it. Fire Xander, I think you can top cut. I'll put that actually ahead of Mordred and Ellen. It's got all the rush tools that you need, and then you can play it two ways. You can play it super aggressive, and probably the most aggressive deck that there is. And then on the flip side, you can use his Fire's tools to get to level 3, and then use the Luxem package to kind of control games and then grind them out, and then use like double Lightweaver's Assault. At the moment, it doesn't appear to be a finalist. No one has topped with a Fire Xander at the moment. So top cut seems to be its ceiling, but that could change. Out of all the decks so far, if I had one that I think would move up, it's probably definitely this Fire Xander. Merlin, top cut if it's lucky. I'll put it ahead of the Sylvies, just because I can play the Erupting Rhapsody, but I think more people are aware of that combo, and are playing Lanterns and the cards to counteract that. And also, if they do suspect Erupting Rhapsody, people do now know to aggro against that and really put that deck on its heels. So I think Erupting Rhapsody just in general has probably lost a bit of favour. It can always surprise people, and it can always have a big tournament. But with that said, I don't see Erupting Rhapsody's top cutting consistently anymore, and Merlin's best deck at the moment is an Erupting Rhapsody deck. So at the moment, top cut if they get lucky. Tristan, is no competitive decks at the moment with Tristan. If you're bringing this, you're just coming for a good time. I don't think you're going to win a round probably with Tristan. Water Xander, I still have a lot of faith in Water Xander, and I think it can still make a final. Probably am a little bit down on it in terms of winning the whole thing, because it does have unfavorable matchups into the Fire and Wind Lorraine, but winnable matchups. In terms of how it goes against Water Lorraine, I'd actually have it favoured because it's got a better late games. If I can get that there. However, in terms of how it goes into Fire Rye is going to dominate it. Water Xander is just a little bit too slow. And its worst matchup actually is probably Fire Rye. It's got better matchups into the two top decks, but not Fire Rye. Fire Rye can do 30-40 damage in one turn, so it kind of gets past Water Xander's late game. Now the other deck that's winning the whole thing is Wind. Now it's funny because Wind in general has a better matchup into Fire Lorraine. However, I'm going to keep Fire Lorraine first, just based on the current results, and Fire Lorraine has been winning the last couple of tournaments. But on its day, Wind Lorraine wins its fair share as well. And at the moment, these two decks Wind Lorraine has the Ascension package as well, like the Fire Lorraine, where you're flickering Prismatic Edge, you're flickering in Sword of Avarice, you're playing Infusions, but then it also has the Human package with your Phalanx Captains, Banner Knights, Tactful Sergeants, and where you can build a board. So Fire's got its big attacks, but Wind's got its ally based, and depending on what list is played, these two can swap in and out as the two top decks in the format. Windrye has been on the up lately, so I will put it above Mordred and Ellen. However, I don't think it can make a final at the moment. Things really need to go its way. So at the moment, I've just got it as a top cut deck, a deck I really think you can make top 8s with, but making the final or winning the whole thing, it's probably just not there yet. But people have just started to dabble with these lists, and the couple I've seen definitely have potential. So there's another deck too I think could take a step up, but at the moment, I think a good result with a Windrye is making top 8. Wind Sylvie along with Windrye, I think that's also another deck that can also make top cut. Things need to be favorable for it. It needs to kind of dodge some of the Ryes, especially the Fire Arcane Rye, but it does have good matchups into the Lorraines. I don't think it can potentially make a final or win a tournament, but definitely making top cut is well within its reach. And the last hero is Wind Xander. At the moment, there's just no lists that are consistent enough. I know there's a couple of people working on win lists, but I just haven't seen them. And at the moment, I think if you bring that to a tournament, anything with gold packs on the line, you're probably dropping after round 3. So that's my updated tier list. The two water decks I had originally at the top have dropped down, and they've been replaced by Old Faithful, Fire Lorraine and Wind Lorraines. Do I think this is going to change before Fractured Crown? Yes, definitely. As more people have come into the game, more people are playing, more people are innovating. But at the moment, if you want to go as far as you can, I'd look at those top 5 decks, put them together, and then if you do want to test yourself, anything in that middle tier, and then the decks below if you just want to have fun. That's all for the video for now. If you want more content, please consider subscribing. Cheers.